Hello my little caribou and welcome to CDQ. Today I will talk about a book that I previously told a little bit about how I felt about in my monthly wrap-up of my month of May, because this book I have read in May, and it is the book Trans History. Okay, first of all, I need to be completely transparent with you. Like I've said in my review, the first thing that this book taught me is, because it taught me a lot of things, is that I was completely ignorant, but I didn't know how much I was ignorant, and it was brutal for me to know how much I was ignorant. And to be completely honest, trans people for me kind of just appear. Because when I was younger, we didn't talk about trans people, and when they start to be more and more vocal, and we start seeing more of them, and I thought they just appeared out of nowhere. I was like, okay, but that was non-existent a couple of years ago, and I couldn't be more wrong. And I want to start by talking about that, because this is to show how much trans people are talked about in our society. I had a feeling they just appeared out of nowhere because no one was talking about that. Well, here anyway in Canada, it couldn't be farther from the truth. This book showed me that trans history existed for basically as long as they were history. It's hard to have hard data on that, because a lot of people try a lot of things to not include that in history book, but we have a lot of early example of trans people going back to Mesopotamia and very, very old civilization like this, ancient Egyptian. So basically trans people have just always been around, and different time of their history has been treated differently. Of course, the further we go back in time, the hardest it is to have hard evidence, and this book is completely transparent on that. And when you talk about someone that we think was trans but we don't have a lot of evidence, they are forthcoming about that and saying that we don't have a lot of hard evidence about that for that particular person, because first record that maybe the first trans people goes back to a couple thousand years ago. So it's really hard to know for sure. We can assume that they are people feeling like this since the very beginning of the human. So it's very hard to have hard data about something that happened 5,000 years ago, something like this. We have some early evidence of trans people in Egyptian history, even maybe a pharaoh that was trans. So it's a very vast history. It's important to talk about this, because the example I given in the beginning of my early view, I would say, of trans people is significant of made me say that we need to talk more about this, because knowledge about this is very important in respecting other people and how they feel about themselves. Who are we to deny them of anything, basically? Because my view on everything regarding this being trans, gay, lesbian, whatever, it's always been, it's not even my place to, I don't have to have an opinion on this, you know? It's not about me, it's about them. I cannot have an opinion about them, how they feel about themselves. I know I'm putting everything in one pot here, but it's just to say that people talk about that in a way that we have to have an opinion on this, but it's not even our own body, so we don't have a say. We don't have a say in what's okay and what's not. What's okay is what you want to be, basically. So it's really important to get some knowledge on this, and this showed me that I really need to educate myself. And this is the first book with trans people that I read, and I have read another LGBTQ book in the beginning of June, and I will talk about that, well, probably next month. But I will really try to read a little more, at least, of on trans history or about trans people, to further my knowledge, because I discovered with this book that it was basically non-existent. I really suggest you read it. And it is, of course, not exhaustive, because trans history is a vast subject, very interesting subject, actually. This book is very good at introducing you to this, because it kind of eases you into the story, and it doesn't read like a story, because it's a graphic novel, and it also read like a history book, basically, but with images, because it's exactly that. is the history of trans people, and it's very, very impressive the quality of this book and how it is done. And there is the author at some part of the book that authors that at some point in the book just some operation to talk about some stuff, clarify some stuff, and that is very, very welcome when you are basically like me, when you don't know anything. And I will definitely read more about that, and I really suggest you read it as well. I will just say that, as you can see here, this is an ARC, but this book is actually not mine. It has been lended to me by Literary Leo, who received it. So thank you to her, so I could further my education on that subject. Knowledge is everything, and every people that have been oppressed in history really is because we didn't know enough about them. And the more we know, the more we start to understand people. And if we don't know about events that happened, that people got oppressed and everything, it is very easy to go back to those ways and to oppress people again. So it's very important to share the knowledge, and book like this is very important in that regard. So until next time for another book.